Welcome back, design students. In this video, we're going to constrain our control objects to the bone joints that we created, and then we're going to attach the skin mesh to the joints. So let's get started. So let's switch back to wireframe real quick so we can see our bone joints. And what we need to do is constrain each control curve object to its joint that we want it to control. Now, we can't parent these two because if we did, then that would break this hierarchy here. An object can't be parented to two things. This one's already parented to this one. It can't also be parented to that one. So we need to use what are called constraints. So you have to select these things in a certain order for it to work properly, and Maya has made it a little more confusing by calling, if you come up to the constraint menu, their constraint function parent. But don't worry about that. It's under the constrain menu, so that should clue you in that it is a constraint and not a parent-child relationship. So let's start with the root. Select the root control. You can do it here if you want. And then hold down Control or Command on a Mac and select the spine 1 bone. And then come to Constrain and select Parent. But pull up the options box first and make sure that the maintain offset is checked and that translate all and rotate all are selected, and click. And you'll now see that we have a new constraint object here under the hierarchy, and we need to just keep doing that for the same thing. If we select this controller now, you can see that it rotates that root spine bone. So now let's select the second one. Hold down Control or Command on a Mac and select the second spine bone, constrain, and parent. And you'll see that pops up. Now, if this pops up down here, then you've selected them in the wrong order. You have to select the control object first, and then its object that you want to parent to. And then go to Constrain, Parent. Now you can check your work as you're going by selecting each control object and making sure that it works on the proper joint. Select the last one and its bone. And remember, this is the end, so that's why it's a little confusing. Don't select this one. This one does not get a control object, this last one. And then select the last one, hold down Control, select its bone here, and click Constrain Parent. And check it. Now, if you select one of these bone joints and come to the channel box, you will see that this blue here, this blue color here, indicates that it is constrained to a control object or to something. Okay, so now let's bind the skin or the mesh to the bone joints. To do that, we need to select all the bone joints, and we have to do that by clicking in here in the outliner. So we make sure we select all of them, and then select the character mesh, and come to Skin, Bind Skin. And once that happens, if you select one of your control objects, you now see that you can bend or deform the skin mesh by using your controllers. And that is exactly what we want. So let's do a couple of things to finish this up and make this more friendly to our animators and make it so that the animators are less likely to break it. If the animators start to select the bones and manipulate them and move them around or move them in ways we don't want, that could cause a problem or break our rig, so we don't want that to happen. That's one reason we put the bones in a layer, so that we can toggle their visibility. So let's go ahead and hide the bones, and then let's collapse the spine hierarchy here that you have, and select the spine, just select the spine hierarchy here, and go to Edit, Group, and that puts them in a group. And then we can rename this group Bones, just so they know what it is. And if they select this group, over here you can see that they have the ability to translate and rotate and all of that and turn the visibility on and off. We don't want them to have access to any of this. So select the first one and hold down Shift and select the last one. And then we're going to right click and select Lock and Hide Selected. And that just simply hides that from them. Now, if they open this up and select one, they still have that, but they have to go through some steps to get there. And that's kind of what we just wanted to make it a little difficult for them to see it. And there are also certain things we don't want them to do with our controls. For example, scale. We really don't want that to be a function. So let's go ahead and select scale and visibility here for the root controller, and lock and hide selected here as well. And let's do that for each one of these. So now if they select the scale tool, you can see it's grayed out and they don't have the ability to do that. Now if you leave the character mesh frozen in the character mesh layer here, then they don't have the ability to select that either, and they can still manipulate it as they want to. So we're done rigging this little object here, and when we come back, I'm going to show you how to animate it, and I'll see you then.